Yes, sir.
Fantastic. So we are through with some basics of technology and just waiting for a few people to join. We see that people are still joining. So we will give them the opportunity.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Cavaliers, if you're all ready. Vaishali Madam, would you like to speak a few words?
Yeah. Thank you, Krishna Kumar sir, for accepting the responsibility of guiding the Gaviliers for the debates. Thanks a lot. Yeah. And Gaviliers, this is going to be a very informative session and very helpful for your debates. And it would really help you for the oncoming debates on Global Gavel Group. So I would request everyone to participate in it fully. And Krishna sir is going to have an interactive sessions. So please participate in it and enjoy the session. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Vaishali Madam. Thank you for this good opportunity. Nice to see on a Saturday afternoon. We have 31 participants here on Zoom. I hope we have some more on YouTube. Great. So, Gaviliers, you all have some stationery with you, piece of paper, and maybe a pen or a pencil to take down notes and to interact. Can I have some cameras on too, maybe, so that we'll have a bit of interaction at the beginning. We'll make it. Yeah, we'll have some fun and learning. Yeah. So I want a few cameras maybe to be on. So we have some fun. Okay. Let's not make the boring lectures and teachers and teaching. Okay. Everybody ready?
Yes, sir.
Great. I'm not hearing very loud. Yes. Great. I'm seeing some thumbs up. Good. At least can I have a few cameras switched on? About 5 or 7 cameras maybe, so that we can interact a bit. Yeah. Great. I can see some faces. Great. Nice. Nice. Good.
Yes.
So, any country other than GCC, do we have anyone from any other country other than GCC? Apart from Qatar and UAE.
Tanu Rajwani ma'am is there. She's from
Mauritius.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
I'm from Mauritius.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for joining.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to have you this afternoon. So, Cavaliers, now tell me, do you have fights with your parents? If you, Vaishali ma'am, can you handle the admit? We still have a few people joining. Yeah. Do you Cavaliers fight with your parents? Yes or no? Couple of loud yeses or no's. Nobody fights with your parents?
Yes.
I fight with my kids.
Yeah. So, what do you fight on? Very commonly, what do you fight on? What do your parents complain? What are their complaints against you? Why are they always troubling you?
Ice cream or anything?
Ice cream? Oh, okay. Nice.
You fight when you want something and you don't get, so that's when it all starts.
Sir, you're muted.
I'm sorry. I'm not going through. Somebody, till when did you hear me? I think I was muted for a second, I think. That's all. Okay, that's fine. So there is fight over junk food. What else do you fight? There'll be some reasons why you fight at home.
Mostly playing,
Pardon?
like playing in gadgets and all that.
Yeah, great. Gadgets, very common fight. Are you guys into social media? Facebook, Instagram, whatnot? I don't
No,
that
not really.
No.
I know you kids have all kinds of devices and sites and social media. Do you find,
Ice cream, unhealthy food they don't allow.
pardon?
Ice cream or unhealthy food they don't allow.
Yeah, junk food, yeah. You can tell me your name also before. Was it Suhana who said that?
Yes, my name is Suhana, sir.
Okay, great. So, can we make that into a, do you reply to your parents? When they say don't eat junk food, don't eat ice creams, don't eat burgers, don't watch, don't spend so much of time on Instagram. Do you give them replies? Do you reply back? What do you say?
Probably, but I end up losing the fight mostly.
Not loud. Some
Mostly end up losing the argument.
Vyometa, you're not loud.
Yeah.
Can't hear you.
Mostly end up losing the fight. Like the
Oh, you end up.
yeah.
Okay. So, if you don't want to end up losing the fight, what should you do?
Get better at arguments.
What should you do if you don't want to end up losing?
Negotiate.
Maybe you have to put more powerful arguments.
Yeah, you need to have a more powerful argument so that you can win over.
Great. Some more ideas? What else you can do? So you know how to put a powerful argument?
Agree with them.
No, that's not an argument. No. So how do you put powerful arguments? Suppose they tell you should not eat too much of ice cream. You can't have a lot of junk food, or you can't use your mobile, you said devices. Then what do you do? If you want to put forward a powerful argument, what would you do?
Keep asking them until they agree.
You have valid reasons.
Yeah, somebody said valid reason. Yeah. Yeah.
Like if they don't allow us to eat ice cream, we will just simply say that we will buy it with our pocket money even if you don't buy us.
So you want to say freedom. Children should have freedom. That is, I have my pocket money, so it's none of your botheration on how I use my pocket money. So once you've given me pocket money, I am free to do whatever I like. That is what you're trying to tell me, right? Very nice, liar. You're going to be you're going to be a lawyer, surely criminal lawyer. Okay, great. So what are we discussing? We are discussing simple problems. And when you take up these simple everyday problems and you structure it, it becomes a topic. So somebody said the first answer was you should not have ice creams. So can we translate that and make it into a general statement that kids should not be given fast food, or all fast food shops should be banned? Can we make such a statement? And then some will say yes, parents may say yes, all fast food shops should be closed down. And you kids will say, no way. We love our McDonald's and we love our burgers, we love our Chicken King, whatever it is. We're going to have it. The same way can we say, let's ban Instagram, or children below the age of 16 should not be allowed on Facebook. Parents and teachers are going to be very happy, but you are going to become very sad. Where will you post your next picture? Isn't it? So these are all topics which we debate every day. So just as we debate at our homes, with our parents, with our teachers tell, don't bring mobile phones to school. We say, but ma'am, I require, because my mom will be calling me, my dad will be late from office, he needs to pick me up, I have no driver today. So you're giving a valid reason. Okay? So these everyday conversations, every nation, every society has got this kind of everyday problems, but they may be of a higher order. And these we call as topics for debate. And these topics of debates have got both the sides, like what you kids all told right now. You love your ice cream. You want to have a good time. It sets off your nice, happy hormones in you. At the same time, there's another side, which is it is not good for your health. You can't be consuming too much. So these topics we normally set up as a debate. Why do we set it up a debate? We set it up as a debate because when people argue, and we'll see shortly how we should argue. Okay, when we argue, we bring the best of both the sides. Now you should not throw tantrums. No, I want ice cream, mama. Anyway, no way, I'm not good. No, you're not going to throw tantrums. That is not arguing in a debate, throwing tantrums. You're logically, you're going to come and tell. This research shows, or I read a magazine, or sometimes magazine carried, Reader's Digest carried an article which said, if you eat one ice cream per month, it's not harmful to health, nothing happens. But this particular ice cream has got only some 10 grams of sugar in it. Okay, it has got less than 50 calories, which is equal to your cup of tea. So please don't stop me from having my ice cream. I want to have my ice cream, it's only 50 calories. Who said it is unhealthy? Those are old days. Nowadays, ice creams are not unhealthy. In fact, they've got a lot of proteins and vitamins and fats, whatnot you can say. Okay, this is logical and reasoned arguments. Such logical and reasoned arguments form the part of a debate. So, like I had said, as you grow up, you realize that society faces several problems. Whether we should tax, we should not tax. We should have certain kinds of entertainment or we should not have. You know, all these kinds of debates you will, at every level we have in our lives. Governments have got, societies have got. So as children, training in debates helps us to do some critical thinking. Whenever a topic is given to you, you start thinking critically. What are the pros? What are the cons? What are the arguments from the other side? So this helps us to think critically and from different perspectives. Somebody may come and say, okay, you get pocket money, but what about that poor child in the class? The other child, Rekha, her father is poor. She doesn't get any pocket money. And I mean, she feels left out when all of us go to a fast food shop. So we also learn to look from other people's viewpoints. So this is why we set up debates. We participate in debates. Many times the answer lies in between. It's not in either saying yes or no, but still we take up positions of yes or no. We agree with something. If we say that social media should be banned for children below 16, some people will say yes, some people will say no. The yes people will bring all the for, and no people will bring all the against for the topic. So two sides for a debate. Okay, so this is the structure of a debate. And when we have a team, okay, there are different types of debating structures in the world. Now you see, you may be watching the American debate for the president's position, right? It's happening. A lot of it's funny. We are not supposed to discuss politics here, but that's really nice. I mean, you can go. It's kind of a comical show when you see the presidential debate. The vice presidential debate is a little better, but so there are different types of debates. Okay, person to person. You have in our parliament, you see debates happening in the parliament. So different types of debate. So what today we are going to discuss is what we call as a competitive debate. Okay, the competitive debate is normally the debates that you come across in schools and colleges, all our programs where we have a team, okay, for and a team against, and they debate against each other. There's a particular format. Okay. So today we'll go through a bit on what this format is and how we should approach any debate in the competitive debate, right? So like the way you said, we discussed about bringing non-emotional points, rational points. So any debate has got these rational points which have to be placed, both the for and the against teams. So we have somebody called the opening speaker. See, the opening speaker is like a leader. He comes forward, he or she, they come forward and place the arguments for their side. Okay. There are always two sides. Like I said, there's always a for side and an against side. So let us take this example of saying that all social media should be banned for children below 16 years. So there is somebody for the motion. This is what we call as the motion, okay, or the subject, the topic. There are different names in different formats. Let us call it the motion, okay, or the proposition. These two names you will find very commonly used, the motion, the proposition. There is somebody for. That team is going to say it has to be banned. Why it has to be banned? This is going to be, that we also call as the affirmative team, the for team. There is also a negative team. Negative does not mean they are negative people. Negative only means that they oppose the motion, the proposition. Okay, or we call them as a against team. In simpler English, it is against team. The against team also will come and speak against why it should not be banned. Okay, now the teams normally have three people. The first, the opening speaker. Okay. Both the sides, they will place their points in front of the house. Then there are rebuttal speakers. In our kind of structure, we will have only one rebuttal speech, one opening speaker, one rebuttal speaker. The rebuttal speaker will rebut the other side's points. And then we will have a person who summarizes the whole, debate, all the points from their side. Okay. Now, who will volunteer? Let us, have some fun for about 10 to 12 minutes. Who will volunteer to give 3 points on why social media should be banned? Okay. Fourth side on. I will put on the topic. Okay. I'll say that social media should be banned for children below 16 years. All of you know what social media is. All, your Facebook, your Instagram, all these things, should be banned. Can each one Gavalier give me 1 point, one valid?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Can I say? Sir,
Yeah, go ahead.
If you use social media, the children will get distracted. The kids below 16 years will get distracted in their studies.
From their studies, okay. Point number 2.
Too much of screen time can affect their eyesight.
Yes, okay.
Mental stress.
Okay, mental stress.
Passage of misinformation.
Why mental stress?
Yeah.
Can you be more specific?
Sorry.
Because of mental stress, because that others, their friend.
Oh, peer pressure. Great. Yes.
Passage of misinformation.
Okay.
Uploaded the
Great. Okay. So one more point can we have against?
frustration.
Cyberbullying, identity theft.
Pardon?
Identity theft.
Identity theft. Okay. So now you're going into technological side. Excellent. See, the points are all come out. Now we got so very good 4 points. Okay. You can choose maybe 3 or 4 points as the speaker, as the opening speaker. Okay. Now, can you go and do some research? I can't expect you to do it now, but when you go back, can you go and say that some studies has shown that children below this age easily get distracted, or their mind is, whatever, they are not able to concentrate on their studies when they are too much into social media. There will be so many psychological studies, medical studies, sociological studies. If you go to the Google, you search for it, you will get a lot of answers. Better not to use your personal examples. Okay. See, when I was 16, I used and I got like this. That is not good, because in a debate, we don't use too many personal examples. We normally keep it to known data. We are talking for everybody. We are trying to make a policy, maybe a government policy. So we cannot say I was affected or I was not affected. So we should try to keep away personal points. Gavlis, please take down notes even as I'm speaking. Okay, there are a lot of ideas coming up. We'll try to repeat these points again, but you can make some notes. So can you go to, not now, but later on, can you go and do some research on what studies have shown that children get distracted? Then somebody said eyesight is affected, too much of screen time is thing. So social media is so addictive. So you can go and do a research and find out that social media is so addictive that it can lead to excess of screen time. The excess of screen time is found to, as per these studies, whatever ABC, some studies, you will go, when you do research, you will find these studies coming up. That is where the importance of research will come. I'll again come to that point, how to attack it. Now also your mental stress, peer pressure. There have been some suicides, cases of suicides where they did not get few likes, children did not get likes, and they went and committed suicide. So valuable lives being lost because of peer pressure generated by the social media. There'll be some research somewhere. Okay. And identity theft, it's a very big problem. I'm sure you will have a lot of information on the web if you go and do research. So as a team, you should sit down and do research on these to find some backups. Every point, remember, when you speak, you should have backups. You should not speak without backup. Every debate, what you get out of, in the judge's point, viewpoint, only when you give a lot of backups is that debate credible. Are those points credible? Okay, I think it is like that. I think it is bad. That's not accepted. You have to come up with some accepted, reputed background, basis for it. Some research, some papers, some magazines. Okay, these will form the backgrounds, and you should quote them when you are speaking. Also, should always tell this particular, the Harvard Business Review of September 2020 clearly states that the on-screen time of kids has tripled over the last 10 years or something like that. I made up this. This is not true. I just made up. Something like that will be available. So you have to quote like this when you are debating. Okay. Now the against, can you please come up? Quickly, can you throw some ideas why children below 16 should be allowed? They should not be.
The general mass should be
Get a lot of information.
aware.
Yeah.
They should be aware.
The current news that is.
Just 1 minute. So just be very careful when we are refuting. We should not say promote social media. We are only trying to say that. We are trying to say that social media should be banned for children below 16. So the other side should say it should not be banned. That's all. It should not say that social media should be promoted or made popularized among children. No, only you should not ban. Okay. So to that extent, you can in fact just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. So to that extent, you can also say that people are going to anyway watch. They are going to put a fake data in their date of birth, and they will enter social media. So you need not say that social media is good. You can also say you can't stop somebody below 16 from entering social media. So there's no point in banning. So if it's not banned, at least parents will know that their children are watching. If you ban it, their parents or teachers will not come to know that they are watching because they are doing it secretly. That kind of argument also you can give. Okay. Now can we give 3 or 4 quick points on why?
Social media is used in online. It's because if some children's best friends are on social media,
okay,
and their parents don't allow them on social media, sometimes they might feel left out and alone because their friends are on that.
Loneliness. Yes. So to make it short, you have to be very crisp. Please understand, in a debate, you have to be very crisp and to the point. So you can always say there's a problem of physical and mental isolation from their peers, from their friends. Look at this COVID situation. Where will they go? Okay.
Sir, it helps to connect with different people.
So
connect with the other family members who are at some other part of the country or at a different country.
Okay, I'm connecting to mine. Okay. Yeah.
Spread awareness about some
please.
Like warning.
Social media.
One at a time. Yeah, one at a time. Yeah.
So social media should not be banned for people below 16 because they can be felt left out because their friends are on it.
Yeah, that's already told. True.
Some videos should be banned from them because they are not age appropriate.
Okay. No, we should not go to that. We should only say why it should not be banned. Okay. Good. That's a good point. Yeah. Somebody else had points?
It gives people a voice in expressing their opinions and views in such platforms.
Yes, you can say older, maybe the elder generation 16, even at 20, they were behaving as today's 16. So today's 16 are very mature. Some study shows that. Okay, you can say that today's have greater exposure to everything in life. So they may be allowed. That's what you're trying to say. Okay? They get the benefits of social media. Again, give it with some background. Okay? Because already there is so much of exposure. There is no point in banning. Your films are there, your television is there, then what wrong did your social media do? So you can say, you can in fact say that, say some other media like television or other things has already had so much of impact, for which, social media is not a culprit. You can allow them for below 16 too. Okay. So what we are trying to do is, we have already got some good points. What we are trying to do is to do some research on the topic, do brainstorming. So you brainstorm with your team. When you sit together as three, you brainstorm on that topic, do research, and come up with those points. Okay. And like I said, everything should be backed up with some research. You also think from the other person's point of view. From what will the other side, points that they will come up. Because one thing is, if the other, it's a cat and mouse game, because the other team will also guess what points I am going to come, and they are going to come prepared with a rebuttal. Okay, that's how we prepare. The better team which prepares better wins. Now, if I can understand what the against team for the topic, if I am say I am the for the topic and there is an against team, if I know what that against team is going to think, then I can keep my rebuttal points ready. I can say 10 different points I can make, and keep some studies and some research also with me ready, so that I know one of these points this guy is going to tell, or 3 of these 10 points this guy is going to use, and I will rebut. So it will be very useful when we are rebutting the second person who comes. So research helps you to think from their point of view, and also think of points which the other team cannot easily rebut. Okay, you should be able to mislead them also. They should not have enough research. If very common points, then they will bring some other common, they will guess what you are going to say, and they will come with rebuttal points. So it's a mind game. So pick up all the points, maybe try 10 points. Try to pick up those 3 strong points, which rebuttal is very difficult. Okay, and which you can put forth with great confidence. So, well, this is how we prepare for the debate. So opening speakers, then you have the rebuttal speakers. The rebuttal speakers' task is to negate what the opening speaker spoke of the other team, not your own team. Huh? Don't negate your own team, the other team. Okay, you have to note down, have a piece of paper in front of you, maybe make columns. The left-hand side, write down every little point that the opening speaker of the other team mentioned. Okay. And you try to quickly think. That's why I said preparation. When you do a lot of research, you have prepared a lot. So those ideas should start coming in to put your counterpoints on the right-hand side. So when they are actually speaking, maybe you just listen very, very carefully. I'll tell you, the beauty of this debate system is the rebuttal speaker gets enough time. I'll show you in the structure. The rebuttal speaker gets 3 to 4 minutes to speak. To speak in the sense to prepare. So he has enough time to prepare. So what you can do is those 3 minutes, first 3 minutes, when you're listening to the other person, you note down only on the left-hand side. And then you get another 3 minutes of a break when the other team is speaking. At that time, plus the judging time of 1 minute. Okay. After each speaker, there'll be a 1 minute silence. Then the judges think. The judge is doing his work or her work. So you can start preparing. Okay. Suppose you are rebuttal speaker for the negative side. So the opening speaker has spoken for 3 minutes. Make points on the left-hand side. And then there is a 1 minute judgment silence that's there. and then your team speaker is going to start speaking. So you can also forget to, hear to them speaking. You don't have to hear because you know your team speaker, what he's going to speak. So you get another 3 minutes, and the judges are going to take 1 more minute to evaluate him, your speaker. So you got 1 + 3 + 1, 5 minutes to prepare your rebuttal. So quickly put down on the left-hand side and start making your rebuttal on the right-hand side. So this would be a general way of preparing for the rebuttals. Now, rebuttal should be a very spontaneous speaker. You think on your feet, use a bit of sarcasm, make fun of your opponent. If we'll see that maybe after a few minutes, how you can make fun of your opponent. You can, run down their arguments, but you should be prepared with those points. You can tell your opponent, my dear opponent spoke very emotionally without any background points. You said that below 16, people get spoiled or whatever it is. But for me, my research shows that by the age of 16, the current generation achieves a great amount of whatever, this IQ or EQ, as per this research published by the Harvard Business or Massachusetts Institute of Technologies in a journal, so and so. If you are prepared, then you will have that. Even if not, also try to sound it a little more like research, make it sound a little more like as if it's got basis. But every rebuttal should have basis. Don't make fun of the other person, and you also don't give any valid point, and it becomes difficult. Okay. So this is for the rebuttal speaker. And the closing speaker has to summarize. Closing speaker only gets 2 minutes. I'll come to it. I'll talk to you about the timings. Gets 2 minutes. You need to summarize, put forward the points, paraphrase. I hope you understand what paraphrasing is. Very difficult to do paraphrasing, but you need to paraphrase what your opening speaker spoke. Don't speak word to word the same thing that your opening speaker spoke. You won't have the time, and also it becomes boring and repetitive. But the basic element, you can say my opening speaker, if he had shown the Harvard Business Review's research, he, so-and-so did, he clearly showed that research conducted in the US by a leading business school showed that this was, which is conclusive to our point. Like that, you can paraphrase. Paraphrase all your opening speakers' valid points, the research points, emphasis on those research points. Also, you need to pick up your rebuttal speaker's points. What he rebutted. My rebuttal speaker gave this excellent example of 1, 2, blah, 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 this very clearly established, or she clearly established that what my opposition is speaking is not correct, that their facts are indeed wrong. We clearly established that it is not 95%, but it is only 33% which is affected. And in any case, this 33% could be affected by other conditions too. Or they failed, you can give another example, they failed to conclusively prove that that social media is linked to poor grades in school. For poor grades could be linked to various aspects like malnutrition, or lack of access to things, blah, 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 shows this research. If you have the research, then it becomes very easy. Okay. So this is how the closing speaker also closes, summarizing the opening speaker and the rebuttal speaker. Okay. So let us go through. If you have a few questions, please keep it reserved. Maybe we'll just run through what I spoke now. Okay, with examples, what I spoke. Let's run through, and if you have some doubts also, you can throw those doubts to me. Okay. So I'll go through quickly with the. Yeah, you are able to see the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fantastic. So, like I told you, this is a competitive debate. Okay, so the debate process.
Yes, so we can see.
Yeah. Can you see my second slide now on debate? The debate starts with a statement or question.
Yes.
We said, we gave that example that social media should be banned or fast food should be banned. Now, that kind of a statement, or should fast food be banned? It could be also in a form of a question. Okay. Then from there, it starts with a question which is given to you. This question is given, or this topic is given to the teams. There is a for team, there is an against team. It's also called an affirmative team or a negative team. And this team they will convince the audience. Please remember, this is to the house. You're not busy convincing your opponents. You are here to convince the house, the audience. And in this case, since the judgment is going to come from the judges and not the audience, we will assume that you're going to convince the judges. Okay. So it's always addressed to the house. The debate is not addressed to your opponents. It is addressed to your audience, okay, to the house. Okay. And you will use, I said, logics. You will not use, we'll always use rational decisions, rational discussions. We will not go into emotions. If you don't give me this ice cream, I'm going to get upset, and then, I'll feel bad. What a bad father you are. No, that's not an argument to get ice creams. Like we already said that. That is playing tantrums. So in a debate, tantrums are not allowed. Emotions, you can have a bit of emotions here and there, especially the rebuttal speaker can add a bit of, drama, a little here and there. But by and large, it should be facts-based, evidence-based. Emotions can take the audience to a slight high, but it's not a good idea to use emotions to give your argument, to be the foundation of your argument. It's not correct. So, and we talked about coming completely prepared, okay, then well-researched. So that gives you the power to become a powerful speaker. You're going to be, all your arguments is going to be powerful. Okay, you have to speak as an authority on the subject. We call it as a subject matter authority. You need to be a subject matter authority, and also you will use that subject matter authority to refute your opposition. Through this process, you are going to convince your audience that your point has to be accepted by the house. Okay, so how is the debate structured? At least this particular, for you, this competitive judge will be structured as, you have two teams, I said. One is the affirmative team and the other is the negative team. Affirmative team will talk in support of the motion. Please remember, the motion itself may be a negative motion. It may say that social media shall be banned for children. Now, that itself is a negative kind of a motion. Okay, it should be banned. But when the affirmative means you're going to support the ban. Please remember that. Don't get confused in the topic. Understand the topic very carefully. Social media should be banned. Fast food should be banned. Mobile phone should be banned. These are all kind of negative statements. But when you're speaking on the affirmative side, you're going to support the motion that it has to be banned. And the negative speakers will say it should not be banned. Okay, it should not be banned. They are not going to argue that fast food is healthy. No. Sorry, we are not going to say if fast food is harmful to health. The other side should not argue by saying fast food is healthy. No, you have to say it is not unhealthy or it is not giving bad consequences. That's all you have to say. Okay? So we have two sides. The opening affirmative side is normally called the A1 speaker, the affirmative one speaker. The first affirmative speaker speaks for 3 minutes, and then the other side, the opposing side, the negative side or the against topic opening speaker speaks for 3 minutes. And you give your opening statements, your opening points, that what we said, 3 to 4 points, strong points with all the backups. You give in a powerful but very measured delivery, you give a powerful speech. Okay, but in the debate style, don't do like a speech style. You have to, I'll give you some links on where you can see how to see the debate style. Okay. I'll pass on some links to you where you can get. Now, what happens then? The rebuttal speaker comes from the negative side. You can see how the arrow goes. It goes from N1 to N2. Immediately the same side, the negative side, the rebuttal speaker comes because he has already had enough time to, write down the rebuttals for the affirmative side, isn't it? So he gets a chance, he or she gets a chance to speak. Rebut. And after that comes the rebuttal from the affirmative side, because now the affirmative side rebuttal speaker has had enough time to write down his or her points against the N1 opening. I hope it's clear. Okay, I'll leave this presentation also with you so that we'll circulate these things to everybody so that it goes more into you. But you see the beauty of it. The rebuttal speaker gets time to prepare. In case the A2 is asked to talk immediately after N1, then you will find that A2 has had no time at all to prepare. We don't want to be unfair. So to be fair, this is the cycle that is followed. And then you have the closing speaker. Closing speaker speaks for 2 minutes. Both the sides of closing speakers speak for 2 minutes. The opening and the rebuttals get 3 minutes. The closing gets 2 minutes. And everybody will have a, normally it's followed that we give a 10 seconds grace period. So if it's 3, at 3:10, at 3 the red card will be shown, but at 3:10 you will be muted. At the end of your 10 seconds grace period, you will be muted. So if you are muted, nobody can hear what you're speaking. There is no negative marking or anything like that, but you are muted. So nobody can hear what you are speaking. You will only be doing, you will continue to do that, but nobody will hear you. Okay. So that's the format of the debate. I hope it's clear. So here is how the judges will be marking. I just put this up, so don't worry about all these details. It will be circulated to all of you normally before before a contest. But why I'm putting here is to show that content is king. Content is king. Content is king. So content has got 70% normally. Delivery, unfortunately or fortunately, it's only 30%. Okay. So don't worry too much about your grammar, your pronunciation, your word selection. It's not so big a thing, but the way you develop your debate, your content, the way you develop your topic, that carries a lot of weightage. Okay, please see this. So content is the king in the debate. So it's not that somebody who speaks very well will automatically win. No, there has to be enough content. Well, so what are some of the do's and don'ts? We have already seen this. Let me go through it quickly once again for your benefit. He said, be crisp and clear. Okay. Take a direct stand. Never be wishy-washy about what stand you're taking. If fast food is bad, stick to your point. Fast food is bad. Don't say sometimes it can be okay. No, that's not acceptable. Same way, if you're opposing that motion, then you say fast food is not bad. Anything taken in out of moderation is bad. There is one saying, even that Amrit, ambrosia. The ambrosia also becomes poison when taken too much. Same way, fast food is not bad. Excessive consumption of fast food is bad. So fast food is not bad. You have to stick to your point. Okay. So be very clear. Defend your topic. We have already talked about negative. Okay. You're not going to argue that fast food is good. You're only going to say fast food is not bad. Okay. So that is what we mean by do not reverse assertion. Don't say that this is good. Okay. If you can think of many examples, we are running short of time. So, and avoid calling anybody by names. Okay. Don't address any of the participant by their name. Avoid, just say my worthy opponent, my learned opponent, all that you can say. You can give them, my worthy opponent doesn't know what he is speaking. That you can say. Okay. But you cannot run down personally. Don't do anything. And own your topic. Even if you love ice creams, if the topic given to you is fast food is bad, please own the topic for that day. Feel fully that fast food is bad. Don't think, oh, but I like ice creams. The point is not here about individual likes and dislikes. It's not about your individual story. Okay, it's about the research that you are doing. So own the topic and speak with full conviction. I mean, if you come with absolutely conviction that ice creams are bad, fast food is bad, pizza is bad. Okay, come with that conviction. So that is what is called embrace your topic. We already said research your topic well, prepare as a team. I said how important it is. All of you to sit together and do research, make all these points, discuss with each other, share points, what you're going to talk, how we are going to present. work out a strategy. Who is good for what? Who's good for rebuttal? Who's good for summarizing? Who's good as an opener? This is a very key thing. Have a strategy to win. Go to a debate with a strategy to win, not a strategy to just participate, but a strategy and a will to win. Okay. Now, importantly, look at your audience. And nowadays, it's like your camera is your audience. So this is your camera. Look at your camera and speak. As far as possible, don't get diverted with other notes and other things. Look into the camera and speak. Okay. No, use notes as less as possible. You can use, but try to minimize thing. And importantly, like I said, don't get caught with the timer. You be muted off. Okay, that's bad. Now, we have already gone through some of these things. The opening speaker, we already said, opening speaker, you should define the problem. Okay, what is the topic? State the topic to the benefit of the audience. To say the proposition in front of the house is that all fast food should be banned, and my team wholeheartedly supports the motion. Okay, so you have to be very, very emphatic and clear in your assertion of the topic. Okay, and if you want, if there are loose ends, okay, try to define that topic. Okay, for example, health is wealth. Okay, so what is health? Okay, so you have the chance to define the way you want, and the opening speaker has to say what he considers as health. Health, is it mental health, physical health? What health? You know, so try to define the topic. Wherever there are loose ends and you are unsure of the topic, or the public can be unsure, or it is to your benefit that you can define, please define. And the dictionary is the first place for your definitions. If you think you want to go beyond the dictionary, go beyond the dictionary and find meanings from reputed institutions who give you what is education, what is wealth, what is health, what is, you can get from reputed institutions and put those definitions and defend that definition and talk to them. And then the refuting guys also have, please be careful, because the other side can say that these people don't know even the definition of this. They have so narrowly defined by what is wealth. I consider something else, education as wealth. Wealth does not mean only money, sir. So they can come up. So definition is very, very important. And you as a rebuttal speaker, use that opportunity also. In case somebody does not define the problem and you think you can grab that opportunity, that you have not defined the thing, define the topic in your favor. Okay. And if you differ with the other side on defining the topic, state that in the opening. We differ with the way the topic is seen. This is the definition of this particular word, of this phrase, whatever it is. Okay, use this opportunity to do it. Then we have talked about 4 points: facts and figures, supporting. We have talked about it. Quote research. I told you from Harvard Business Review, so and so magazine. Say that. Reiterate the topic. We said. So the proposition. We urge this house to support this proposition. Blah blah blah. And hence this proposition of whatever fast food is bad. Like you should. Every speaker should repeat it 2 to 3 times in his speech. Okay, so it becomes very clear to the audience. So the opening speaker is a leader, so make the best impression possible. Okay, like we said, keep the rebuttals also in mind. We already discussed that. I hope you are taking notes. We said rebuttal speaker, what do you have to do? Write down all those points, 3 major points, do it. Respond only to the opening speaker. Don't respond to the rebuttal. That's not your business. Don't listen to them. I told only you should rebut the opening speaker. That's it. Give all references to what the opening speaker, the opposing opening speaker said this. The opposing speaker said this. You quote that, then people will say, yeah, this guy is such a good listener. I mean, amazing debater that he is. Quote those people, you know, so that you can bring them. Ridicule, I told, ridicule people, you know, use sarcasm. But when you use sarcasm, be careful. You tell, my opponent has so loosely defined this, but you can't stop there. You have to tell what's the correct definition. They did not bring any evidence or research to show that high sodium is harmful to things. But this research now shows that sodium is not that bad as we thought 20 years ago. Today it is, they made it a bad person. My opponents are not aware of modern research, but you should have the background. If possible, do that. Okay. If not, forget sarcasm. If that's only for very seasoned debaters, if it is, forget it. Be a plain debater. Okay, the closing speaker, we said, summarize. 1 minute to summarize, to paraphrase your opening speaker, 40 seconds to paraphrase your rebuttal speaker, 20 seconds for your own, some beautiful quote or give a eloquent, and hence I urge this house to support this motion or to oppose this motion vehemently and wholeheartedly. And this has got no place in our society. Something like that, do it. Okay. But if your rebuttal speaker has been very melodramatic and kind of gone over the top and shown a lot of energy, you kind of mellow down, bring it, show a lot of, as if you are a very wise man, you are giving a very wise proposition to this house. Everybody should listen, and then close with that kind of a closure. You can slightly change as you want. There are no hard and fast rules that this is a winning formula, this is a losing formula. There is nothing like that. Okay. So, Gaveliers, I hope you have gained a lot from this interaction. So this is what I put a quote from Barack Obama. I said, students participate in debate, they'll learn to study issues. We discussed this in depth. We talked from ice creams to hamburgers to social. We studied, and from different perspectives. Always remember that you have to look at the problem from different angles, from the angles of parents, teachers, of society, of poor people, of rich people, of people in different countries, of different time zones, of people in cold winters and in very hot summers. You have to think of people and the affecting circumstances in a very, very global way. That's one of the beauties of research. Okay, so that's why we said do research from a very, very broad perspective. So that is the kind of perspectives I used even in my everyday in Senate. So you will see that in your life, in every situation that you come across, you will be using this power to look at issues from all possible angles and then coming to an optimum solution. It's very, very beneficial to your life, to everybody around you. It enriches all our lives. Okay, a debate is not about going and trying to win something. It's a debate. It's something that we critically analyze situations and issues. That's why we are free. Sometimes we are on the on side, we are far side. Sometimes we are on the against side. Within minutes we switch over. Okay, somebody doesn't come on that side, we sometimes go to the other side and speak. Because it's all about our own critical thinking on how we put forward these research facts and our critical thinking into our daily lives. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed this session. So as promised, I have closed at 4:53. So let's have, if you have any doubts and questions, we can have for a few minutes. Okay. Hope you all enjoyed the presentation, the discussion. Now the floor.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yes, please.
You told that sometimes the rebuttal speaker can add humor by, somewhat making fun of the opponent. How do you exactly do that?
Yeah, sarcasm. That's why you should be very measured. Like I said, you can just say, it looks like my worthy opponent has not read today's newspaper or is not in the habit of reading newspapers. This morning in the Times of Oman, this particular item was published. I wonder how she has missed it. Something, that kind of sarcasm. Okay, it's being very polite. You're not running down, my opponent, you don't know anything to read, you have no brains, you have no knowledge. No, you're not saying all that. You're only very politely saying you're not read today's newspaper. Looks like you don't read the newspaper first thing in the morning. Okay, that's kind of a polite sarcasm. Okay, you can do that kind of sarcasm.
I have a doubt.
Yes, please.
Like you are told that can the closing speaker and the rebuttal speaker add quotes? Because won't that be counted as a new point, or you can add quotes?
No, you can. A quote is not a new point. Okay, unless you are going direct, very much into a different field altogether. A quote is only to reinforce what you are already saying. Like what I have used now, Barack Obama's quote. It is not going away from the basic talk that I gave you. It only reinforces all that I said. That of the issues, perspectives. It's a thing. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, I have another doubt.
Yes, please.
So when the topic is like, is a general topic like food essential for our body? So then how can we go against that topic when it's a general topic?
I don't think anybody is going to frame such kind of a topic.
No, sir, because I got the topic that vaccinations are required for children. This is a general topic, right?
Yeah. No, there are a lot of things against vaccination. If you go and do research, see, you said food, which we can't accept, but there are vaccinations. Now, there is a huge amount of study. There's a huge lobby in the world called the anti-vaccination lobby. You go on, if you research, you'll find a lot of material why they say. They in fact say that vaccination creates more diseases. It can create more problems. It can cause more deaths. What is the guarantee of that your vaccination works? Many vaccinations fail. So actually, there's even medical reports says that all vaccinations are not 100% proof. I mean, like you give a vaccination, you're safe for your whole life. No. Every vaccination has got its own shelf life. And sometimes what happens the other way around is people get, they become careless when they have a vaccination. It's like having an insurance, you know. You take insurance, you go and recklessly drive on the road because I have an insurance. So people may think that I have a vaccination, so I don't care. I can live any kind of a life. I don't have to take any precautions. So there are many aspects to vaccination. Okay, if you go do research, you will come to know of it. Okay. Yeah.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah, please.
Can the conclusive speaker add his or her like its own line, like its own quote?
Yes, you can. That's why I said you should paraphrase. Just go on, study the word, what is called paraphrasing. Okay. So you should paraphrase. You should not repeat most of the words that the speakers have used. You can paraphrase, put it in your own beautiful language. Okay. There's no issues about it. You can be very creative about it.
Sir, another doubt.
Yes.
If we are on a side of a topic on which we don't have a lot of points to rebut, and the rebuttal speaker doesn't have actually points to actually speak, so can he repeat the opening speaker's points because he doesn't have more to rebut?
No, what you do is you have to creatively use. They would have made some vague statements. See, after all, that speaker has spoken for 3 minutes, isn't it, Kush? Yeah. That speaker has spoken for 3 minutes. He would have made some kind of vague statements. Definitely, you know, ice creams are very bad for health. All that you first ridicule the speaker, say that my opponent has not come with enough research, with enough presentation, as he is making very subjective comments, that thing. Whereas my own study shows that ice creams are not bad for health. Ice creams today have less than 50 calories per ice cream. So it is not, it's only as good or as bad as a cup of tea. So this idea, which is not researched well, is entirely wrong, and hence please support in negating this point. Same way you can pick whatever the 3 minutes the other person has spoken, you can pick holes in that. Okay, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Be very, very, you know, I shouldn't say this, but you know, you don't have to be very, very careful about what you are quoting, because see, this is all, it's coming as part of a debate. You are not in some government office or something giving facts and figures. If you are little here and there, it is okay. I mean, nobody is going to hang us for that. Yeah, but the structure should be there. You have to try to maintain the structure. Yeah. Good question. Yeah.
Sir, can I ask?
Yes, please go ahead.
Is it needed for a rebuttal speaker to rebut a point with a research, or can we rebut with a universal truth?
You can do that. The point is, what happens is, if you have research and you can readily get it, nothing like that. It's got so much of power in it. Okay. But of course you can, if it's a universal truth, see, that there is something is a universal truth. Okay. So because there's always two sides, that's why first of all, the person brought such a thing, because there's nothing like a universal truth that applies for all contexts, for all times. You know? For example, is burglary wrong? So don't we have characters in our fiction who burgled and served the poor? So there are many things like this. You know what I mean, Robin Hood. See, we read the story of Robin Hood, and what was Robin Hood doing? So you can say that it's a universal truth that robbing is bad. But then if somebody quotes Robin Hood and says, Robin Hood is treated as a hero, isn't it? So there are different ways of handling. That's when you see the beauty of the subject grows. As you see that there is just not one side to a story. There are always many sides to a story. And that's the beauty of debating. You learn to see those many sides of the story. Yeah. Any more questions? Going interesting. Nice. So kids, can you put on the chat box how you like the program? How was it useful? Did you enjoy it? Informative is one thing, but did you enjoy it?
Yes, sir.
Did you feel part of it? Did you learn something you spent 4 to 5 of Oman time, maybe whatever time in your place? Did you think it was worth your time? Some points that you did not understand, did I go somewhere very fast? Any such things, any feedback is, see, that's one thing as Gavaliers and as Toastmasters, we always seek feedback. Okay? So we should be ready for feedback, we take feedback so that we improve the next time. So anytime there's no master in this world, all of us are learners. Only I am a trainer for this evening. In some other class, I am a learner. Okay? And even through this training, I'm learning. Okay? So that's the beauty of being in Toastmasters or generally in life. You learn, every day you learn. Okay, we are having people still join.
Yeah. Thank you, Krishna Kumar sir. Thanks a lot. It was a wonderful presentation. And I hope it will benefit all of us. And sir, would you share that presentation, what you said? Would you have made
Yeah,
this?
sure. I can do that, yeah. I'll do that.
So can you share on the chat box now or later
Right
on?
now?
I think it would be better if, so those who have attended now can access now. And you told about sharing some links for getting the information.
That's now action on new, if you can do it quickly. That
Yes, can you just share that in the chat box quickly?
what we had for this recently, the division else, do you have? Yeah, you shared that with me, no? No, not who shared it. We can put the same thing in the group. That's a nice presentation.
I think division L1, we already have it in the group. The
Yeah, that we can share.
video you are talking about?
Yeah, that's the one. See that? Yeah, there's a model debate in that. So it was that.
That we have. I can share that.
Yeah.
I had shared in the Global Gable group also.
Correct.
I can share in the group again.
Yeah.
And the counselors can share it forward to others. And the links that you said for research, can you post those links?
Research. No. Link that I said for research. It was only for how to do it, for a mock debate. So since we don't have the time today for a mock debate, that they can follow for the mock debate. Research. Okay. Go to all the, go to Google and research. You'll find hundreds of references coming up.
Okay.
That's much more than enough. Yeah. And
okay.